Yeah. Kevin, if you want to start recording now, I think we can
We are
start.
recording. We are
Oh, we're recording? Oh, I did not.
I started it.
Oh, I see.
Oh, I'm recording too. Should only one person?
Sorry, I didn't realize.
Oh, should I stop?
It's okay. Oh my God. All right. Welcome everyone that's here. All 54 of you. It's nice to see so many people that want to join and join us here today. My name is Jordan. If you don't know me, I am the co-president here at CSHub, and I will be one of the hosts of this event workshop, along with 3 guest hosts here, Maria, Chris, and Ari. Yeah, you can find them. They have their cameras on, their faces there, except for Chris. And
my AirPods died. I'm back now.
Yeah, and we also have Professor Dada here. He's popping in to say hello. And yeah, Dada, I think you wanted to say something at the beginning, right?
Yeah, so I'll say a few words and then let you go on. So I'm here mostly to listen and to see what CSHub is doing. It's a great initiative. I think as a program, we don't do a good job of preparing students for job interviews through the curriculum itself. I've tried doing it sort of independently with limited success, but something more systematic is very direly needed. And hopefully this is the first step, and this will motivate people to start this process. I was talking to Jordan and Kevin and others a little while ago, and I was saying that my ideal outcome for events like this is that people in the early years, first year, second year, realize the importance of internships, co-ops, and get started in however small a way that's possible. Just, get started. Set yourself some time to work on these things and keep going, right? So that discipline will take you much further than, some brilliance here, or he's so smart or she's so smart. Those things are all good, but it's the discipline of just pegging away at all the things that you have to do and finding time to do those things, right? So your lead coding, your design question preparation, even basic just interactive interview preparation, all the little things you have to do, making sure that when you're coding sort of on a whiteboard or on Notepad, you don't make too many mistakes, and you have some kind of flow. You can talk through the process as you're coding, because sometimes that's the expectation. You'll explain every step as you're coding on a whiteboard. All those things, they don't happen on the first day or the first week or the first month. It takes practice, right? And other than that, just do the usual things. Network, listen to the people that the alumni that you can have access to, see what they did, how they worked, sometimes how they failed initially and then recovered and succeeded, right? All right, so I'll shut up. I'll listen to at least a part of what's being said, and I hope you enjoy this session.
All right. Thank you, Professor. Yeah, so as you heard, if you're in your early years, definitely start early. And if you didn't know some of the things, like, I don't know, if you heard about leak code or whiteboarding and you don't really know what those mean yet, we will discuss them further in this presentation. So yeah, we're going to explain just how you can get why you would want a co-op and internship and how you would go about getting that, and some of the experiences from our speakers. And this is just a note that I think a lot of you might be wondering about specifically York's or Lasson's co-op and internship program. We won't be really focusing on their specific program right now today. We are just talking about the general process, not specifically the school's program. And you can find more information about their program at this link. So now that that's cleared up, we're just going to do a little introduction of the speakers. I guess starting with myself. Yeah, I already told you guys, yeah, my name is Jordan. And I'm the president of CSHub, and I have some experience with co-ops and internships. I just did my first term. I'm actually still in the middle of my first term of an 8-month term as a software developer in test, like a sort of like a more of a QA role at Caseware. And I actually recently got an offer from Amazon for next summer. Yeah. And, Maria, if you want to introduce yourself.
Okay, sure. My name is Maria, and I am a 4th-year computer science major, and I'm in the Shopify Dev Degree program. So I do most of like my internships at Shopify, and I'm currently, like I just started a few months ago, my last internship at Shopify, which is in production engineering, so more infrastructure related things. And I also did an internship at Twitch over the summer. So I guess that's my background.
Chris, if you want to introduce yourself.
Hey, so I'm Christopher. I'm also like a senior computer science student at York. Last past summer, I worked at Amazon, and currently I'm working at Shopify. Yeah, I think that's it for me, I suppose.
All right.
Hi, I'm also a 4th-year computer science student, and I've done 2 past internships. My first one was a 12-month internship, same company as Jordan, Caseware. It's a great stepping stone for a lot of York students. And the last summer I spent at a Square, where I was working on Cash App as part of the iOS team. So yeah.
All right. Yeah, those are our speakers. Got a range of companies that I've worked at, and I hope you guys will have a lot of questions for them later on so they can describe their experiences. So just first of all, I just want to answer the question, why might you want to do a co-op or internship? So if you're here, you probably have a very good idea of why, but basically you want to get a job, right? You want to make you have some sort of interest in, we're focused in this workshop is focused on software development. I'd imagine you have some sort of interest in software development. You want to make a career out of it, and getting some experience while you're still in school, while you're still a student, gives you such a big advantage over people that don't get experience while they're in school. Once you get out of school, you'll be miles ahead of everybody else. So you can, yeah, you can make money while developing technical skills. And if you see, like, there's websites that show like what kind of salaries or what kind of money you can get at certain companies, and if you look, it's definitely certain companies will definitely give you higher numbers than a lot of people expect. Just, I don't know if you've heard of like the acronyms like FANG, like that, they're known as like
Manga. It's
yeah,
manga.
manga now because of the change of Facebook to Meta. Just like, or if you've heard of like what quants do, like financial technology, high frequency trading. Anyways, if you want to make money, if you want to develop your career ahead of time, if you want to develop your skills in the professional world ahead of time, and you want to gain experience, then definitely do co-op or internship during your school. So yeah, just before we get into the meat of this, we just want to clear up some you could say misconceptions. I don't know if that's the right word for it, but a lot of people, they especially, like, I know for me, when I joined York, I wasn't sure what the difference between a co-op and an internship was. And York, there definitely is, there is with York's like Lasson's program, there is a difference, like with like requirements, or like when you do it, you have to do it in second year or start in third year for like co-op versus internship. But in the outside world, often people refer to them interchangeably. And so if you go on the internet and you find resources on this, further resources, you will find a lot of people, or like job postings and stuff like that, referring to internships and co-ops used interchangeably. Just know that we're referring to job experience before graduation, and usually contracted to like a set period of time, like 4 months or 8 months or sometime in the year. So yeah, and we're going to, now that that's cleared up, we're just gonna go we're going to go through just basically an overview of what you can expect when trying to get a co-op or internship. And I'm just gonna try and like just give a very fast, like quick overview, and then you guys can and then we'll get the speakers to talk a little bit about their experiences, and you guys can ask questions to the speakers, to the main guest speakers that are here today. So yeah, we'll start with how to get a co-op. There's obviously, first of all, just make sure you apply, and apply a lot. If you've seen maybe our Reddit post or social media posts that we posted like 2 days ago, that was one of our tips that we shared. But just apply a lot, and after you've applied a lot, just there's basically 2 stages, which is getting the interview and passing the interview, which is it's a pretty simple like way of thinking. It's a good simple way of thinking it. So you need a resume, and we'll talk more about that, and this will allow you to potentially get the interview, and you could potentially also use your network to get referrals. And if you don't know, companies often have some sort of system where basically if somebody within the company knows you, they can go to their HR place and say that like you might want to look at this person, or I'm gonna refer you.
Chris got his current job because of me.
Oh, did he? I actually didn't know that.
All right.
I referred Chris to Shopify.
Yeah. So
Yeah. So
yeah,
I got
so
like some money because I referred him.
Yeah.
I think it was like $150 because it's just an intern. But if you refer people for full time, it's a few $1,000s depending on the company. So you can make money from it.
Yeah. So Chris got an in, basically. Like he at least passed this resume screening pretty easily because of Maria because of Maria's referral, and he got to the interview stage. And there's a couple things within the interview that you can prepare for. So now that we've covered these 2 stages, getting an interview, passing the interview, we'll just go through. Oh yeah, applying for internships. Yeah, definitely apply early, even without your co-op portal. Like, as I said, I got my Amazon internship for summer 2022, just like earlier, like in the beginning of October. Like they posted their postings like in August. These are there's definitely still, you're definitely not too late if you're starting now, or even like in January. There's still things for like summer 2022, but things can start early. So just apply early, apply a lot to a lot of places. Even if, don't be scared of rejection. Like, applying is free, right? And yeah, there's a rolling basis for applications. So which incentivizes you to apply earlier even more, which means candidates are hired even before application deadline is over, which means the later you are to the deadline, the less spots they'll have and less likely you'll get hired. So yeah, resumes, which is a big part of getting an interview. Just look for a resume template. Just get and try and build up experiences you can put on that show a drive to learn outside of just school, like show internal motivation to learn. And yeah, and you can do that by including side projects.
Yeah, you can also go to like hackathons or do open source contributions. Sorry, George.
Yeah.
But
No,
it's like
thank you,
they
'cause
look for this stuff. It's like something extra if you can, like show interest.
Yeah. Hackathons, I completely forgot about that. So thank you. So anything that shows like a desire to learn about, like, for specifically software development, and a desire to learn software development. So yeah, resumes often are reviewed like by both an automatic, I forget what the acronym is, but like it's basically a screening for like keywords and stuff. I think it's both automatic and a person, but just make sure there's like certain resume formats that might not be readable sometimes. Chris can talk a lot about that. He definitely reviews a lot of resumes and talks about his experience with ATS, but yeah, cover letters are usually optional.
Would you like to tell people what ATS means?
It's just an automated scanner. I don't know what the acronym is or whatever, but it just scans your resume.
I could jump in.
Yeah,
I'm pretty
definitely.
sure ATS stands for automated tracking software, where the base of it is that if you're like a really large tech company and you were to get like 10,000 applications for some posting, applicant tracking system. Okay, so if you're like a large company and you get say 10,000 applicants per job posting, instead of having someone manually review all these applications, you would just kind of have like the software that looks for keywords in your resume and discard most resumes that kind of don't fit the bill. So if you have a resume that's not ATS friendly, like you use like emojis or special characters, it's gonna be hard to read it. So more often than not, you would fail ATS scanning. And that's why you would want your resume to be like, like keep it simple, still good formatting, things of the sort. Yeah, I'm very picky with how I like my resumes, which is why I used to do resume reviews for the CSHub server. I think we still have a text channel somewhere in there for that we
do have it. Yeah.
We did start it up again a little bit.
Yeah, also you can like go to websites like jobscan.com or like resume Reddit to like optimize it more, like just to scan it.
Yeah. Yes, there are like, yeah, we can talk a little bit about that later. But there are, you can like make sure you can format it in certain ways and get it checked to see if it's good. So yeah, cover letters are often optional, and it's recommended, but you don't have to obsess over it over a resume, because often the resume is what catches the eye and makes the recruiter look at the cover letter. If they don't like the resume, they often might not even look at the cover letter. So prioritize the resume over cover letter. And yeah, so the interview, after you pass, we didn't really talk about like referrals or whatever, but after you pass resume screening, you can get an interview, and often there's more than one part to it. Yeah, and smaller companies there might be less parts, but larger companies there may be many parts. But generally, some things here are an online assessment, which they give you, like, it's not an in-person, you're not talking to anyone, you're just there's like third-party websites where they'll give you some sort of coding challenge, and you'll try and complete it within a set amount of time. And then there's a recruiter assessment where you might just talk to a hiring, like a HR person, basically talking about like what your values are, not really about technical stuff. They won't really be a technical person. And phone interviews, which I personally haven't really had experience with, but I guess it's like a coding interview, and then the final round or rounds may be coding interviews with either hiring manager or some sort of technical person, where you will have to do coding challenges, and you can study for these coding challenges with several different resources. You'll hear things like LeetCode. I see in the chat. All right, yes, LeetCode. That's the most popular platform to practice. There's several others, and basically you need to know. They test you mostly on algorithms and data structures. So sometimes a few other topics, but that's the main focus: algorithms and data structures, which actually is kind of a controversial. Like, not everybody likes it. It's kind of oversimplified, but that is how it is right now. That is the most common interview process. So going on to, yeah, that was basically an overview of the process, the two-part process of basically getting a co-op or internship. And now we will just
Wait, before we do that, does anyone have any like questions? Like, they want to unmute themselves and ask questions?
We have a section right after. That's
oh wait, oh, so it's at the end?
Yeah.
Okay, sure. I mean, yeah, I thought like a lot of, if anyone had questions, they can just like get a chance to answer them right now for like this, instead of holding it to the end.
Jordan, can I add something quickly?
Yeah.
So one of the things I wanted to add was yet another reason to do internships, co-ops, whatever, is that to my knowledge, a lot more students get jobs in the companies that they do internships in, so return offers, rather than fresh do an interview at just before graduation or something like that. And also, from what I know, the internship interviews, as hard as they are easier than the ones you face at the end of your 4 years. And so it's almost like a shortcut to getting a job, doing an internship and then sort of impressing people, getting a return offer.
Yes.
Because most of the positions get taken up that way, for the few positions that remain for people who are interviewing fresh after or just around graduation time, things are much more difficult. The competition is stiffer. So really, if your aim is to go for a job, co-ops, internships are the way to go.
Yeah. in the employer's eyes, sometimes they're a direct pipeline to getting hired as a full-time new grad after you graduate. That's how they see it. Right. Yeah. So I guess, yeah, I think now we're gonna let the guest speakers give you a little bit of their story about basically how they got started with this, some of their experiences, and maybe they'll like confirm or expand on some of the things that we talked about. And yeah, you guys can ask questions, and yeah, we'll start with one of the speakers if anyone specific wants to step up.
Go ahead, Ari.
I didn't know about this slide until right now, so I'd rather someone else go first.
Okay.
Not too bad. No, okay, Chris, go.
Go ahead, Maria, please.
No, Chris, I want to hear your story.
Let the
Okay,
YouTuber go first.
So, okay, so for me, I think I'm a little bit of an anomaly because, as Superkash said before, York does not do a great job of, I would say, making their students very employable or teaching them about like internships and co-ops and such. So I was in my third year when I learned what an internship was, because to me prior, it's never something I heard of before. And the reason I learned about it was because I went to a hackathon at the University of Waterloo, Hack the North. And in like, I guess my group was a bunch of people who were talking about like, oh, I just finished my internship at like Google and Microsoft and like Facebook. And I was like, as a student, you can get jobs at like these very prestigious tech companies. And I think at the time they were more so just like talking about them, just like brag and show off. But to me, I found it to be like very inspirational. And I kind of made it like a goal that later that summer I would get my first internship. So I got my first internship at the same place where Jordan is currently working at Caseware. I worked there for 4 months. When I was done with that company, I worked at a different company called MDA Space. When I finished working at that company, I worked at Amazon. And when I finished working at Amazon, I'm currently working where I am right now, which is Shopify.
So you don't want to talk about all of the things that went down between like COVID happening?
Yeah, Chris, this is an origin story.
Yeah, Chris.
This is a pretty short origin story.
What is the origin story? Am I missing details?
Yeah, that like wasn't it
the grind at the
Caseware?
beginning.
Yeah, Caseware moved your internship because of COVID, right?
Oh, okay.
And then you had to, and then there was like MLH. You participated in that.
Okay.
You forgot an internship, yeah.
Okay. Hold on. I don't know why people are jumping into my life story.
Because you told everybody your life story. We know it. We were there.
So I'm gonna wrap that up as how I started. The why is because, to be honest, I had a conversation with my sister, who is like 2 years older than me. She was a mechanical engineering student, and she was kind of telling me about how like there are a lot of students who will graduate with a computer science degree. Think about every student in all of your lectures, and then think about it between like every university in like Canada, and then in the States, and like in the world in general. Like you have a lot of competition. Everyone is kind of like competing with you for jobs, whether you like to think about it that way or not. And the way you would try to make yourself employable is racking up work experience. So as a new grad, if you're to graduate without internships, I would extend the limit and say like it might be harder to find a job if you didn't have prior internships or anything. So that's like my whole why I like to change my internships, and the when, I guess I kind of broke down the timeline. So that's my little spiel. Okay, cool.
Okay, then if you're done, then who wants to go next? Ari?
Sure, I'll go next. Hi, as everyone knows, I'm Ari. My story started similar as Chris. Actually, It started a little bit earlier because I went on this magical thing at York called the Silicon Valley trip, which is actually the one good thing Lassonde does for their co-op students. Only problem was I went on that trip with zero work experience. It was eye-opening, but it was very like depressing as well because everyone around me had experience. I was the only, for some reason, they chose to take a computer science student with no experience at all onto a trip to Silicon Valley and see all the big tech companies. Like, I had no chance. I didn't even know what LeetCode was at the time. But that opened my eyes. And then what happened was I was talking to some of the people that were on that trip with me, and some of them had jobs at, again, the magical company Caseware. And what ended up happening was when I came back from the trip, I had the whole looking for jobs, like my first ever job search. And I actually ended up getting 2 offers then. I ended up getting IBM, which was like the classic like Lassonde trope as well. And then I also got Caseware. And the reason I chose Caseware over IBM was because Caseware was downtown and IBM was in Markham. None of that mattered because COVID hit at that time. Basically, so I worked at Caseware for 8 months and I wanted to extend my internship longer. I wanted to go somewhere else, but I couldn't find a single job. So I ended up actually staying at Caseware for a year. And during my time at Caseware, I was actually talking to Dennis, who's in this chat here. And so we both went to Hack the North, but I didn't really pay attention to the hackathon whatsoever. Dennis actually sent me a link to a Square event that was there. So I actually ended up attending the event, put my email down on the list. And through that, I actually got my first interview with Square. Having Caseware on the resume, I think, was really one of the main reasons I was even considered. But basically what ended up happening was the DOA, 3 interviews, I ended up getting the offer. And I guess that's where I am now. The why was the Silicon Valley trip. The when was like right before COVID. And I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, that's my story.
Can I ask a question?
Yep.
So when you went on that trip and like you said you were surrounded by other people that were like a lot more experienced comparing to you, right?
Yeah.
Like I understand like you felt like a bit of like imposter syndrome, right?
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
Like how did you deal with that? Like how long did it take for you to get over that? And like
the secret is that it never goes away. I still feel like it sometimes. My entire summer, I was doing work, I was working, I was so happy. But in the back of my head, I knew I was like, I feel like I don't belong here. And you're always going to feel like that a little bit. I think the secret is just to like suppress it and just ignore that because it's not actually true. It's not really there. Imposter syndrome, it's real, but it's not real. If you choose to make it not real, it won't be real kind of thing. And you just kind of gotta get over it. It was more frustrating on the trip though, because it was actual imposter syndrome because everyone else around me actually had experience and I didn't. So that was like an actual real case of it. Whereas like when you're working on the job, it's very different. Imposter syndrome, like you're there around everyone else, but everyone else is on the same level at you at that point. And I think when you're at that point, that's like the fake imposter syndrome. So yeah, I don't know if that helps answer your question or not, but yeah.
It makes sense. Thank you.
No problem. Sorry, I'm seeing questions about the Silicon Valley trip. It was kind of like so the York gives like a $500 like bursary to anyone who goes on a trip with the school. So we got that from York, but that was it. And we had to pay the rest out of pocket. I still think it was a great like experience because we still got to network. You get to see like a beautiful city. Like there was so much nice stuff that happened. Like we met so many cool people, so many important people. I'd say it's definitely worth the money if you can afford it. I just don't know if they're even planning one this year or not because of everything going on. So yeah, like I know the last one, yeah, exactly. As Dennis is saying, the last one was virtual and they just met with the companies. But I think it's different to actually go to the offices and see the people working. It's just like, it's a different experience. And unfortunately, COVID has ruined that. But hopefully, I think this year was in October, so it's already passed. But hopefully next year's will be in person. That would be
No, it was actually in August. It was end of August.
Oh, was it?
So weird. One of my friends went, but I don't know how.
Oh, actually, yeah, it was.
Yeah, I don't know how he got into it because he's like, he doesn't have good marks. So yeah, I don't know how he was chosen. But
yeah,
I don't have no idea.
So you said you get a $500 bursary for that, but like, do you have to pay for all the other travel?
Yeah, the rest was out of pocket, and like we tried to book everything as cheap as possible, but like like I ended up using like some like credit card miles to end up going. And it was a little cheaper for me, but I know a lot of people paid the tickets out of pocket, and that's just the way you had to do it. Like if you wanted to go, it was kind of very much like York didn't help too much as they really should have, but yeah.
I see. Okay.
Maria, if you want to do your origin story now, then.
Oh, okay. I started at York in engineering. because I didn't want to do biology anymore, like after grade 12. So then the only places I applied to were like just like biology and engineering. So I was like, okay, I'll try engineering. And then I was doing a linear algebra assignment, and I got an email like a day before that saying Shopify is hosting a party on the first floor of Burj, like the Bergeron building. And then I was like, oh, I want to go there because I always saw stickers of Shopify on people's laptops. I would ask them, what is this? Like, what is this company? And people would say, like, it's Shopify, some e-commerce company. I'm like, I have no idea what that means. So I went to the party, asked them, like, just to figure out what is Shopify. And then I asked them about it, and they're like, oh yeah, this is for the dev degree program, because it was 2018. It was the first year that they were hosting it at York. And then they're like, oh, you should apply. We're looking for 2 more people. And I was like, but I'm in engineering. And they're like, you can change your major. So then I applied to that. And then I did some like interviews. I had to skip some, like my engineering classes to go downtown for the interviews. And I got lost like in downtown because I didn't, it was my first time going alone. So then it was pretty funny. And yeah, so I did interviews, and they were more like just, yeah, like thinking questions. And after I got through that, then I switched my major to computer science. And the way the dev degree works is like your first 8 months. And like I started 3 months later with my friend Jerry. So we started 3 months later than everybody else. So we went through this training path, which is kind of like the stuff you were going to do anyways, like just like learning stuff on your own, building side projects. Like you'll learn, like in school, you learn databases in 3rd year, essentially, like if you take it in the correct order. But in the training path of Shopify dev degree, we learned it in our 1st year. So we could build full stack web applications. Like we learned how to build databases and to think about that. And like similarly to how we learn it in school, like learning the theory behind it and actually putting it into application. And then building backends, front ends, like using all of like the new technologies, not Java, right? Like using more like React, GraphQL, learning that stuff all in 1st year. And then after that, you're put onto a team, and each team is like 8 months long, and it's part-time. So that's why I do school and work at the same time. So then that's what I have been doing. I did a front-end internship as my first one, then back-end, then data engineering, and then now production engineering. And I think I like production engineering the most, or maybe full stack as well. And I also did like a little bit at the startup thing, like through this website called Flick, like, or this organization called Flick, like FLIK. It's for women who are in computer science, or like not in computer science, in anything, women who are in university or high school who want to get work experience. There's that program that you can go through, and then you do like apprenticeships. So I did one for some startup, and then I was the only technical person there. And I was just like, oh, here, build a whole app for us. And I was like, I don't know how to do this. And I tried. It was 3 months long. I didn't finish the app, but I was also like their UX designer. So I learned UX through that. So I think that was a good experience, like to just throw myself into that. And then like why also like why do I do all these things is because I'm just like trying to learn. Like that's my thing. Like for me, it's like I don't care about the money or anything. I just went into engineering. I went into computer science with the idea of like, I want to challenge myself and I want to learn. Like all the courses I was bad at in high school were computer science, math, and physics. And then I was like, okay, let me go into the thing that I'm bad at and try it out. And then I decided, because I only do internships at Shopify, I want to try to, like, before I graduate and try to find a job after school, like if I don't want to stay at Shopify, I wanted to see what is it like to do internships, like interviews. So then I did that, like at the end of last year and early this year, I did some interviews, and then I made YouTube videos about that. So you should check out my channel. It's just my name. And then I made a bunch of videos about the experience of like learning how to leak code for the first time, and like failing interviews, and just talking to recruiters and all this stuff. And also about like making my resume better and fixing that, and like roasting all of my past resumes. So I went through like this whole experience. And I recently went through that for new grad, like applications as well, and interviews. So I have that, like those videos also, I'm like editing those and posting them. And then, yeah, so that's like, I guess I just wanted to have that experience, like same as everyone else, like to have this experience to interview, because it's really good. And yeah, it is scary at first, but it's really important to do, and to like push yourself outside of your comfort zone. And to like the way I think about interviewing is that you'll never have the experience of working with a really smart software engineer who works at a different company other than the time you're in an interview with them. Like you get 60 minutes to work with a really smart engineer or a few smart people, and you get to like pick their brains about why they do what they do, and they get to teach you something. Like every interview, like even if it's a job that I don't want, I will learn something from it. And it's really cool to like take that and then use it in your next interview or like use it in the future. And I think that's really fun. And it's just been a good experience. But and then you do get really like I used to get super nervous, but now I'm fine. Like I don't get nervous before interviews. And yeah, like what helps is I guess like everyone has their own thing. I don't know if people want to share like this is a good question. I think it's like what do you do before an interview? Like how do you not be nervous before it? And like what I used to do is I used to use like my standing desk and used to stand like before my interview, like stand up for 5 minutes or like stand throughout the whole interview. But it's kind of hard when you have like 3 back-to-back interviews and you're just dead and you can't do that. But yeah, I wonder like if other people like listen to music or something before that, or like how do you hype yourself up before an interview? I don't know.
Well, I guess Maria is getting a lot of subscribers tonight, huh?
Yeah, but how do you hype yourself up? What do you do?
Yeah. Ari, would you like to share how you hype yourself up before?
Yeah, I just take a nap. Nice.
See, I'm like quite the opposite. I'm really bad at hyping myself up. I legit, if I have an interview, I wake up and I don't do anything until the interview. And I just try and kill time. If I have lectures, I'll skip the lectures. It's really bad. Like today, for example, I skipped like a lecture that I could have easily attended for no reason. But yeah, you don't have to always hype yourself up, I guess. It's not like the only way. You can just like stay calm. Like I was watching Netflix all day today, basically.
Oh, nice.
And that worked for me. So yeah.
Yeah, I watch anime. Like whenever I'm interviewing, I have to watch like a really hype like shonen anime to like to make me believe in myself. And yeah, that's what I do. Well, yeah, I don't know. What does Chris do? Is Chris still here?
Honestly, I actually do the opposite. Instead of hyping myself up, I just tell myself like, you know what, I don't even want this job anyway. So if I don't get it, then like, it's all good. If I get the job, like yeah. And if I don't, it's like I was right. See, I didn't even want to work here anyway. So it's all good. Either way. It's about having the right mindset, guys. Okay?
Yeah, alpha mindset, huh?
Alpha, yeah.
But yeah, with like your origin stories, like these people are not like these people are not like super smart, like ultra.
Thank you.
No offense.
Yeah, I know he's right though.
Nobody's like an ultra genius, like
yeah.
Like you don't need to be an ultra
You're not
genius
wrong.
to get an internship, right? Like you might think that like
if it'll make you guys feel better, I had to retake grade 12 math because my GPA wasn't even high enough to get into York.
That does make me feel better. Thank you.
Yeah, it's just there are things, there's a path that you can take, and it just takes like work, and like you just need to put in time.
Yeah, no, it's 50% hard work, 50% luck. That's what I'll say, because like it was
skill.
luck. Like it was luck that I got into dev degree, of course. Like just going to a random event, and then like it's like sometimes I will do interviews, I will ace those interviews, and I'll still get rejected just because it's like maybe they found someone better than me. Like I did all of their questions, I was super nice, and then I have the experience that they require, but then they're just like, oh, maybe this person is just like more of a culture fit or something, or maybe they have like more experience in this random technology that's obscure. So it really depends. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah. Oh yeah, go.
Okay, so Maria, and also you have a YouTube channel and you had a part-time job and you had school, all that stuff all at the same time. How did you like balance all those stuff together and like basically not burn yourself out? Did you have like a lighter course load, or like how did that work?
Oh, you mean in the summer?
Oh, did you only work over summer?
Oh no, I work now. Like in the summer, I worked like Shopify and Twitch, and then I had one course at school. It was like a 6 credit course. It was anthropology. So it was on the weekends. It was just like online. But then, yeah, how do I not burn myself out? I think I guess making time for yourself and like, because I guess it was really hard once at the end of my internships. Once I started interviewing, it was really hard because because I started interviewing in July, and then it was like, yeah, it was like July, August, September, October were interviews, and it was really hard because like or even now still maybe interviews, but the thing was I wasn't forcing myself to do leak code every day because I found that when I was working so much and then forcing myself to do leak code, it was just, yeah, that was what was burning me out because it's just so much of the same type of thing, like so much coding. And it's like, sometimes you don't need that much, or you don't need to force yourself to do so much. And it's good to take a break and let your mind rest, I guess. And yeah, just, I don't know how to, right now,
So
what
you
am I
kind of
doing?
realize that like some things are just not like as important to do. So you like kind of
Priorities, yeah.
prioritize what to practice and not what to practice.
Yeah, definitely. Like I know what I'm bad at and what I need to help. Like I need more practice in. And then I also like before I would take interviews, I have like some pieces of paper of like questions that I wrote down that are like different patterns that I want to like remember. Or like I would always like try to remember like BFS and DFS. I would just memorize that. It took me a while to just like, yeah, just get it down, just memorize a few things, or like write down some Python syntax that I always forget. And like, so I don't have to Google it during interviews. And it's like, yeah, I don't know. You have to, wait, I even forgot what you asked. What were you?
Like, how do you burn yourself out? And also like you pointed out how you just learn how to prioritize things.
Oh yeah,
to
prioritizing
practice.
stuff. Oh
I see.
yeah. Yeah,
No,
yeah.
I get your point though. It's nice that you learn to only practice things that you were weak at, so you don't have to like burn yourself out and spend extra time on other things.
Yeah, but sometimes it's like sometimes you get array questions that are really hard, so you have to sometimes like you have to do a little bit of everything and make sure that you're covering ground. Like I think once you know the theory of data structures and algorithms, then it's easier. But then it's like, I think the thing is when you get a coding assessments, those questions are generally much harder than the questions you might get in interviews. Or maybe a coding assessment might have like 1 or 2 easy level questions, a medium question, and a hard level question. And then you might not be able to solve the hard one because you didn't practice enough leak code, and you might fail the online assessment because of that. So then it's either you grind the leak code so much that you can pass a lot of online assessments, or you get those jobs where they don't require you to do a coding assessment and they just put you in the interview funnel, and then you can pass the interviews easily because they're just like more medium level questions. So it really depends like how much time you have and how much dedication you have.
Okay, all right, I see. Thank you so much.
Kevin, if you want to ask something.
Yeah, thank you. Hi guys. So my question is, so data structures and algorithms is a bit far down into the semesters for computer science as a whole. And I kind of have an understanding that when it comes to things like the technical interviews and the OAs, that does pop up very much so as an actual topic. So do you guys have like a preferred third party kind of like, I guess, a resource that you guys would swear on, I guess, that would actually help you prep early on so that you don't have to kind of wait for the course, I guess. And yeah, that's it.
I'll answer this one. So I don't think that anyone needs to wait for EECS 2011, like for a formal education to actually learn data structures, because honestly, I learned more about data structures doing actual leak code problems over the actual course itself. And maybe it's because I'm not a great student, but like I know what a lot of people think. They really get like overwhelmed by the fact that there's so many questions and how do you know which ones are the high quality ones to study. You can like, I think on LeetCode, there's that list on the right hand side that says like top 100 most liked questions. I feel like if you are able to solve like most of those problems, at the end of it, you're going to be learning a lot about like how you can use data or like dictionaries and hash maps to solve problems and gain more understanding with like linked lists and things of the sort. And anytime you run into a problem that you aren't able to solve, like anytime I run into a problem I don't know how to solve, I can literally type in the name of the problem into YouTube, and there will be like 50 videos on how to solve this problem. And they talk about like how you can use data structures to solve it. And through doing these problems, through watching like videos, I learned more about data structures this way. And I feel like at times this could even be better than like an actual formal education, to be honest. But yeah, like someone said in the chat, like after taking 2011, I honestly didn't even think like it helped me that much. So, I mean, it really was great for graphs, to be honest, because Andy did talk a lot about graphs, but that
I think 3101 was more useful for me than 2011, or at least 2011, it didn't sink in yet.
Yeah,
like
that's
just
fair.
because you take it doesn't mean that everything is going to sink in. So
also 30,
yeah.
3101 is even further down the, I guess like the little pipeline, but I'll tell you now that I can solve dynamic programming problems, but is that because I took 3101? No, I actually don't even have my credits for 3101. So if you ask me, how did you learn dynamic programming throughout formal education? And it's literally just, I solve LeetCode problems. And for problems I don't know how to solve, I watch YouTube videos and they explain the concepts for me. And more often than not, that will suffice. So there you go. How did you know DP existed without 3101? So if I go on leetcode.com, I see a problem and I'm not sure how to solve it, and I click on the solutions tab, there will be headlines that say like, you know, recursive brute force, and then, you know, second solution search would be like dynamic programming. Here's how you can
even
use
better
dynamic
than that,
programming.
you can just go to related topics on each question, and it kind of tells you what the topics are, which is even easier than going to the discuss tab.
Yeah.
Under
just an overview, like for people that like are absolute beginners, like algorithms and data structures, like there are like general like patterns, general like yeah, like there's a very small subset of patterns that you can learn, and like they apply to a whole bunch of questions, and you can like pattern recognition, like, oh, this question is about includes this, like yeah. So there's questions in the chat, and also someone, Dennis, raising their hand. Okay, I think Dennis has been raising his hand for a while, so if you want to ask your question.
Yeah, the one that I put in the chat was unrelated, but this is a question to the lovely panelists. And it'd be cool if all three of you could answer if you feel like it. I was just kind of curious if you had any regrets or anything you wished you had done when you first started your job search X years ago.
I can answer this one with a pretty easy one. So I went off the timeline that York provides, which is like starting in like, what is it, like October almost. That's way too late. That's like, I mean, it's not too late. It's like there's nothing, even now it's not too late, but the earlier you start, the better. Like I think for the upcoming summer, I have one last internship, and for the upcoming summer, I actually started applying while I was still working at Square in like August. So I think start early is the biggest thing.
Thanks, sorry.
Okay, did we answer the early question from Ella? Yeah, right? Unless
yeah, I think it was answering in the chat by Chris.
Okay. Yeah, and Job has a question here. Does only LeetCode help your coding, or creating your own projects also help? So is doing LeetCode more of a priority? That's his question.
So there's like a fine balance between the two, because you need to know how to do the LeetCode problems to pass the interviews. But if you don't have the projects on your resume, you're not going to get the interviews to begin with. So it's a fine balance of like having a good project on your resume that's good enough to get you the interviews, and then maybe you focus on that first, because without the project, you can't. There's no point in doing the LeetCode if you can't even get the interview. So maybe start with the project, and then once you finish a simple project, then you can start LeetCoding, and then maybe work on some other stuff that actually interests you. Projects, open source is always great as well. Any contribution to open source is also really good to put on a resume. So I guess that's my answer there.
Yeah. Well, also, I think my regret, to answer Dennis's question, is that like I didn't try to work at smaller companies like startups. I think startups are like good places to learn. And I think if I would do it again and if I wasn't in dev degree, then I would try to do like 1 or 2 internships at startups and then try bigger companies, because then you get so much experience and you get to try so many different things.
So would you specifically do startups first and then big companies, or just startups? I don't know.
I think I'll do startups maybe in the future as well, but because I think it will be good when I'm more senior and then I'll have more experience. But I think it's good at any point in time just to learn. So I don't know if there's like a good time, but I think startups, it's like you learn so much and you just jump in. It's like jumping into the deep end, basically.
Just having a variety of different size companies.
Yeah, that too. Yeah.
Thanks. I mean, I'm just gonna assume Chris is perfect. Probably doesn't have any regrets. So you can.
Yeah, Chris just doesn't want to answer your question.
Sorry, Dennis, what was your question?
I said, what was my question? If you had any like regrets, or if you wish you did something or started doing something earlier.
Yes, I wish that I stopped viewing York University's curriculum as, I guess, my source of truth, if you will. Like, it was only until after I was a second year student that I started to realize, like, oh, there's actually a lot of learning to be done outside of lectures, and that, you know, the curriculum itself doesn't even like teach you that.
Chris, you somehow muted yourself.
Sorry, am I cute? Can anyone hear me?
Yeah, now we can.
Okay. What was I gonna say? I was gonna say that my regret is I wish I stopped viewing York's curriculum as the only way to learn. It was only after second year that I started like realizing like, oh, there's actually a lot of learning to be done outside of like your lectures. There's a course on full stack development, which is 4411, I think. So you're waiting until you're a 4th year student to make a full stack web application. And honestly, that is kind of embarrassing. Like, if you can make a full stack web application like after like your 1st year or like your 2nd year, that's like obviously much better than waiting so long. I can honestly tell you right now, I know so many people in like 3rd, 4th year who don't even know what like Git is. So definitely I wish I started teaching myself more sooner and really just getting like my head out of my ass sooner and like getting my own sense of competency. Talking more, of course, like, you know, the more people like I talk to, the more I realize that like I've been missing out on. Like, Ari is one of like my closest friends, and like he teaches me a lot about like things I never even knew before.
He teaches me a lot too.
Yeah, like just, you know, it's so many things. Like, honestly, Dennis, like this is absolutely like crazy. Like, talking to a lot of people because they teach you a lot about things that you don't even know. You know, teach yourself outside of your lectures, go to hackathons, make your own side projects, teach yourself Git. If you don't know what Git is, learn it like right now, learn it tonight, learn the basics of Git. Apply to jobs. Just honestly, I could keep prattling on.
I think there's just a lot of students know what Git is now because Jackie Wang has started teaching it in all of his earlier classes.
Jackie Wang is a good professor.
I can take a little bit of credit for that because I'll never forget one of my first classes with Jackie. I was using, so basically I learned Git in high school because my high school teacher was like a godsend and taught us all this stuff. And I was using Git to like transfer my files over from like the lab computer to my own computer. And Jackie's like, what are you doing over there? And he thought like he was upset at me because GitHub, the free tier, you can't have private repos. So basically what ended up happening was he thought I was like publicly posting all of my stuff, right? And I told him like, there's this free thing for students where you can have private repos and you get free GitHub Premium. And he was like in awe. And then the next year, he started teaching people how to transfer their stuff over with Git. So I'm going to take credit for that. I don't know if it's true, but I'm taking credit for that.
Yeah, he does teach you Git. Like he's doing it in all of his lectures. Like in the beginning of his like 10-22 Java course, he's doing like the first thing you learn is Git.
He started that the year after I told him about it. So I'm taking credit for that.
Oh, sorry, Dennis. I'm going to add one more thing onto your question. And it's also ties into another question I heard earlier, which was between courses, applying to internships, doing lead code and side project, how do you balance all these 4 things? I'm going to be honest, I'm actually very poor at balancing all these things at once. And everyone sacrifices something, right? Like whether it's like your social life or your sleep or good grades, like you're sacrificing something. And I find myself more often than not ending every semester with like C's, maybe like a few B's, because instead of like doing my assignments, I would be doing leak code. And instead of paying attention in lectures, I'd be like working on like my own side project or something. But one thing that really did help me a lot was having a good group of friends that really help you kind of get to like the tough times. Like Ari has always been there for me to like just like rant about whatever it is, or to be like, oh hey, like this company just opened up, I don't know if you applied, but like you should. And like currently I'm like also recruiting for jobs next summer, and my girlfriend like really helps me a lot, just like, you know, de-stress. Like she'll like order me food if I've been like doing leak code like the whole day. So having a really good support system, and just like I'm gonna be honest, like, you're not always gonna be able to do the best in everything. Like you will have to sacrifice something, but I think being very aware of the fact that like, oh, I probably should take a break from doing whatever it is and catch up on other parts of my aspect or other aspects of my life that I've been annoying will probably help you to like keep yourself in shape, I would say. But it's different for everyone. But I did want to address that question.
Thanks, Chris.
Okay, I think Colin has been waiting for a while.
So I'm one of those people that are not in the CS program. I'm actually in the philosophy program with an interest in computer science. And particularly, I did do some coding back in high school. And this was like back when they were teaching Dr. Java, Turing, and HTML, like the old school stuff. So in terms of internship, without the background like this, what would be the chances of, I guess, getting internship into tech companies that are not heavily program based?
So I can answer this one. Sorry, I missed a little bit of the question, but I think I heard you say you're not part of the program. So
Yes.
At Square, in my last internship, I was actually working with someone who was like in her late 40s, and she did what was called a boot camp, where it was like a 12-week program where she just goes to school every day, and it's they just teach you the basics of the algorithms. And that actually got her a job at Square. Like that alone was enough. You don't even need a degree. That enough got her an internship. And then the day her internship finished, she got a full-time return offer. I don't know why that's so hard to get out. And then she was actually able to, now she's working there full-time as an engineer. So basically you don't need the degree at all. If you want to, you can look down the route of these boot camps, or you can honestly just start doing your own research and making your own projects. You really don't need a university education for these kinds of jobs. It does definitely help. I'm not going to say it doesn't help, because that is a lie, but you can do it without it. You just need to do the leak code so you know how to do the interviews, and then just have some projects on your resume, whatever you like. Even if you want to make like a small website for yourself, or if you want to, I don't know, like my big thing, the way I got into like computer science and everything was just I hated doing stuff. I'm very lazy. I'm a very lazy person. So what I like doing is optimizing thing, or like automating. That's what I was looking for. I just like automating a lot of stuff, and that's kind of, I started learning that a little bit just on my side, on my own in high school. And then I realized like I like this, I want to learn this, and I went to CS. So basically what I would say is just get some projects on your resume. You don't need the degree to get the job. Is kind of what I'm getting at. Just have projects and know how to do the interviews, and you should be fine. And if you're looking for like some help with it, I would definitely suggest boot camp. Usually some boot camps even offer this thing where like you'll pay for it, and then I don't know if this is like true or not, but I've heard this many times, is that you can pay for the boot camp, and then if you don't get an internship after or a job after, they'll give you your money back. It's true. Alan says it's true. You can trust Alan, president of the Engineering Society, former president of the Engineering
Alan
Society.
beside you?
And he just left. Bye.
Or if
Sorry.
you don't want to like go to
Yeah,
a boot
why is
camp,
he not here himself?
yeah, Alan should be here.
Anyway,
But
sorry
yeah.
to interrupt.
No, it's like you can go to, like, if you want to just learn more, I always recommend hackathons, because they're really like, they're for free, and it's a short time commitment. Could be like 12 hours, 24 hours, 48 hours. And especially now that they're virtual, you don't have to like actually grind them the entire time. You don't have to be someplace. You can sleep, you can do other things, but it's like you meet new people, or you work with your group of friends and you're trying to build something over a weekend, and then you learn so much. I think you learn a lot more from other people than you do from like textbooks and things like that, because like I've done hackathons with Ari and with Alan, and it's been so much fun. Like Alan taught me stuff, and then Ari is like amazing at iOS and like always is like the front end god. And I don't know, it's so much fun just being able to work with people, and also like getting experience to learn new things. And hackathons have free workshops, so they can teach you things like introduction to like APIs or Python or JavaScript, or like specific things with like hardware, like how to use Raspberry Pis and things like that. So if you're interested, you should apply for hackathons, and they're all for free basically. And I think that's like a good way to see what you're interested in and explore different areas of technology.
Basically, a hackathon is you just don't sleep, you get free food, you get free merch, and then you come out with a project you can put on your resume at the end. And if you win, you might get a cool prize.
Yeah.
Okay, because at this particular moment, not knowing too much about coding, which I'm sure I'm going to have to, I'm interested in the communication between the marketing team and the program engineering team. You know, that bridge between the two.
So that's almost like product management, like PM. And there's a lot of PM internships as well. There are like technical PM internships and then non-technical PM internships. I guess what you would be kind of looking for is the non-technical one. Or if you want to learn more about the technical stuff, like, I don't know, like, for example, like my project manager at Square didn't know about most of the stuff I was telling him about. Like, I would make a small change and I show it to him and it's working. And he's like, cool, now like push that to production. And I'm like, it's going to be like 6 hours. And he's like, why? He just didn't understand. He didn't understand most of the stuff. And I think that's okay. Like he was an amazing product manager and he didn't know any of this stuff. So you don't need to have the super technical knowledge to do that kind of role. And you're still working with the engineers and the marketing and the legal, and you're kind of working with everyone there. So that's a cool thing if you like all look into that as well.
Okay.
Yeah. And at hackathons, you can be that person. Like you can be like the leader of the team and try to think of like the whole thing with a hackathon is you're trying to think of an idea to solve some type of solution. And then you can be like that person who leads the group and just see if you like that and be that bridge between the engineers and like marketing, because at the end of a hackathon, you have to present and explain like how would you market this solution and like that kind of stuff. So you can try that out if you're interested.
Oh, thank you. Are there any courses in York I could take? I mean, there is, I saw in the comments, there is a product management course, right?
I don't know if it's at York who can take it, but I think they have stuff online.
For York, there's also computer science courses you need to take for non-science, like non-CS people too. Because my friends at Biomed, they're taking.
I think it's 1015, yeah.
No, not 1015. They're taking like 1500. It's like a Python.
That's what it was. Sorry, my bad. 1500. Yeah.
And then they're like also other courses they need to take, like something related to their field, because like biomed students, they need to do a lot of computer work too, I think.
They have a lot of like data analysis stuff.
Yeah, data stuff. Yeah, so they do like R programming sometimes, and like Excel and all that whatnot. You can try looking into those programs and see if you can get in. But in terms of product management, I think York has a business like ADMS courses you can check out. That's close to marketing as an elective.
Yeah, because I only have the summer term as I am in my master's degree right now. So I'm at the master's, you have to take some classes in the summer, or you have to be enrolled. So I'm just thinking, use this to learn about other things as well. You know what I mean?
I don't think any of us are like experts in like product management.
I don't know if anyone of us here are masters.
But I mean, I don't personally know any resources, but there's probably resources out there, like some sort of communities you can find.
Yeah, I think there's product buddies, like some Discord server called Product Buddies. I don't know, just search it up.
Yeah, you can search up like probably if you search up like Reddit product management or something.
Yeah,
you could find a Reddit with like with a resources page, or like join some sort of community. Like a Discord usually has a lot of communities, or like I don't know where else nowadays, but yeah.
There's also, so this is like a smaller thing that I wanted to mention actually earlier and I completely forgot. There's like, so everyone knows like the classic like what's the word? Networking social media platform is LinkedIn, right? LinkedIn's great, whatever. But I think that the secret better one is Twitter. So, and then like I know Maria and Chris
Oh
are
my
probably laughing
God,
right now,
Ari.
but Twitter is like my favorite place to just find engineers. And like if you DM like a random engineer on Twitter and you're like, hey, I'm interested in interning for your company, like, do you have any advice? They'll usually just give you advice, and they might even give you a referral, and they might help you out. Like I have personal experience of like asking people like that on Twitter, and I've actually gotten many interviews just asking people on Twitter in their DMs, like just bombarding their DMs. Half the time they're not going to answer, but when they do answer, they're always going to help you out. So I think Twitter is a great place. Also, it's just engineers tweeting about like issues at their job or their work.
No,
which is
they're
really
just
cool.
always sarcastic. Oh my God. Tech
It's
Twitter
not
is
true.
the
That's not
worst.
true.
Tech Twitter is so toxic though. Yes.
Oh, it can be. It can be awful, right? But I mean, any community can be awful. You go to any Discord server, there's going to be some bad people there. You go to any subreddit, there's going to be some awful people there.
Yeah.
There's always good people. There's always a good balance. I think Twitter is one of the better balances, because LinkedIn, everyone just ignores you, because everyone on LinkedIn, the whole point of LinkedIn is just a flex on everyone, I think. And that's why it's so bad. It's because if you have if someone perceives you to be a lower class than them, they're just going to completely ignore you, which is such a rude thing to do. I've kind of just stopped looking at LinkedIn altogether because of that. Like I don't bother with it anymore. So yeah, I think Twitter is just better. That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay.
Oh, and Blind is awful. I saw Harps talking about it. Don't go on Blind. Blind is the worst.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm blind.
thank you.
Wait, a follow-up question to that. Can I ask you right now?
Yeah.
So how do you recommend we find those engineers on Twitter? Because like it's a big space. How are you?
It is. You're right. So honestly, you can just say like engineer and then write the company name, and usually you'll just find people. There's just a lot everywhere. Oh, most people will have their job in their bio, so they'll be like software engineer at like LinkedIn, or software engineer at Twitter, or software engineer at Apple, or software engineer at Facebook. They'll just usually have it there. So you can just look up software engineer and the name of the company, and you're going to find someone. It might not be the perfect person right away, but what I did is kind of build, like you can kind of build a web of people by following some people and then seeing who they interact with, and then following the people they interact with, and then following, and it just kind of builds a web. I think it's great. Also, you can go on LinkedIn as well. So yeah, Dennis is saying is completely true, and I've done this actually. You find like the perfect person that you want to DM on LinkedIn, and then you just look up their name on Twitter, and you'll usually find them. And the thing with LinkedIn is you can't DM someone unless they accept your request. But on Twitter, unless you go and change your setting, you can be DM'd by anyone. So they're just going to get your they're going to get your DM, and they might answer you, right? And you don't even have to DM them. If you want to be more casual, you could just reply to one of their tweets. Like if they tweet something funny, you can respond with a funny response, and just become friends with these engineers. And then over time, kind of builds a relationship.
That sounds like a great way to sneak your way in. Thank you.
That's what I've been doing. Thank you. Yeah. Dennis. Yeah, it's both, I think.
Just a quick little announcement. We made a feedback form in case y'all would like to share your feedback about thoughts about this event and like what other events you'd like to see, because we're hosting a few upcoming events. We're doing a lead code workshop on this Monday with Lausanne Engineering Society, where you can learn how to lead code finally. If all you've been wondering is what the hell is lead code and where do I begin? Because we constantly been talking about lead code a lot in today's workshop. It's on Monday, and if you want us to host any events like you don't know about, like let's say how to get LinkedIn, or like how to set up your LinkedIn profile, or like resume reviewing events, like workshops, just to please share us in the form that I put right here in the chat. And
I saw there's a permission tonight, but
oh yeah, you need your YorkU emails for that. Sorry, it's because I made it with my YorkU account.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry about that. But like, yeah, if you want us to like thank you for joining us today for this amazing event. Thank you, awesome panelists, for taking your time to join our session and give the students of York some great advice. And thank you, Professor Datta. I believe you left, but you know what? I'll still say thank you for Datta for joining. This has been a wonderful event. If you still have questions, I think do we still have time for one or two more questions, or are we good to end this?
Panelists?
I have one question, if that's okay to ask. So in the beginning where you guys started and you told about like if you have referrals, it'll be really helpful and like your friends got you like some of your jobs and all that. What if you don't have those referrals? Like I understand like you can go to interviews and like you can get those
So you don't need referrals. I would say referrals are kind of like it depends on the company. Some companies referrals can get you an interview, and there's a lot of companies where having an interview is the hardest part of getting the job, right? And then there's some companies where they'll send interviews to everyone, and then the interview is hard, and that's how they weed people out. And really, it depends on the company. The referral is not the end all be all. It definitely does help, but it is not the end all be all, and it is not the first foot in the door. So, and if you don't have friends to give you the referrals, like let's say none of your friends are working in the companies you want to work at and you need a referral, I guess I would recommend again my strategy of just going on Twitter and DMing people, and eventually one of them will get back to you and they might even give you a referral. I've had a few referrals from just DMing people on Twitter. And a lot of times, some engineers at some companies even tweet that their team is hiring interns, and then the application for that internship is actually just DMing them your resume. So I've actually gotten some interviews off of that as well. So I think the main thing I'm going to say again is just going back to just DM people on Twitter and someone will help you out.
That sounds great. Thank you so much.
One tip for at least LinkedIn, I haven't actually gotten any referrals off this, but I know Ari mentioned like you can't message people without connecting. One like sort of hidden tip to get a message in is when you connect with them on LinkedIn, you can send a message along with your connection request, and that sort of like opens up conversation if you word it correctly and like you're asking about something. So you can potentially still like network and talk to people that way on LinkedIn.
Fun fact, I had people DMing me on LinkedIn, even though I did not even apply to jobs, saying, oh, hey, you want this job?
Yeah.
And then I said, yes, I do. But then they ghosted me. They never said a word. And then I realized, oh, that's a bot. The person
once I got like a message on LinkedIn, do you want like a new grad position for TCS? I'm like, I'm in second year. Why are you offering me a new grad position?
Yeah, I get like senior engineer. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm not. No.
Definitely usually a scam or not great positions. But yeah. But yeah, definitely the regular, like the what do you call it? The most often path is just apply. Just apply. And don't be scared. Like don't be afraid of rejection. Just apply and just get it done. Just do it.
No, I think for the first internships, like most people, they apply for like 100 or 200 jobs, right?
I mean, not every, like I know not a lot everyone. Of like when I first did it, I know I was like only applying to like in my second year when I tried to get co-op for the first time. I just like I don't know, I was just procrastinating. I was like, no, I don't have a good resume yet. And like I was doing it last minute, and I only ended up applying to like less than like it was just like a few places because it was like last minute and all that. And like I didn't realize it's just a numbers game that you just need to.
Yeah, at the beginning it definitely is.
Yeah.
Or all the time it is. Like you just have to apply. Like this time for new grad, I applied to like 80 jobs or something. So many. And it like takes a while to fill in applications because sometimes they just don't read your resume and then you have to just fill in all the information manually and it's garbage.
Yeah. So I guess I mean there was like a form like no if we want to wrap it up I guess we can if
I guess it is time to wrap up, folks. Thank you so much again for joining us tonight. Thank you again, panelists. We really appreciate you coming and giving your time to like talk to us about this workshop. Yeah, I don't know how to end this. You want to end this, Jordan?
I'm ending it with.
Yeah.
Oh, wait,
the
that's
recording
fine.
of this will be up later.
Like in
Maybe-
like an hour or
Yeah,
two, like
maybe with
12 a.m.
with slides
12
too or
p.m. sharp.
something, with these slides too, and just interact with us. Like people are on like just in
Yeah, just
CSHub,
talk in the CSHub general. Just
yeah,
like
and
hit us up.
just anywhere, just ask people about stuff. Like ask questions if you have, like get resumes reviewed, ask about like strategies for studying or how to do a certain question on LeetCode or something. Like just interact with people and get into the process.
Just talk, please, in the Discord. We're desperate.
Yeah.
Just at one of our execs, just at Jordan for Amazon referral at this point.
Not even in yet.
I mean, just or at any one of the like our CSHub execs for referral. I think they can give you one if they want.
We don't have anyone at any companies except Jordan.
Well, they don't. I mean,
well, definitely
we
not
don't
me.
know it yet.
Fayaz next.
We might in the future.
Make you next with first year
Fayaz is
rising into second. Got this. But yeah, thank you guys for coming. If there's no more questions, I think we're gonna wrap
we will
this
see
up.
you later on part 2, I guess, which is the LeetCode workshop where you'll actually learn how to solve problems.
Is that that's really soon, right?
That's like
what
in
day?
Monday. That's really soon.
Yeah.
And yeah, we'll show you some problems what like tech interviewers like usually give you to do in the program, like during the online assessments, and then you can basically like learn how to actually LeetCode. Something which I need to do too, because I don't even know how to LeetCode as well. Because when I saw a 2-sum problem, I stared at that for hours and I'm like, wait, what the hell is this? So yeah, for people like me, like if you don't know LeetCoding, that's the best place to go on Monday. We will post it in our announcements. We will ping you. We will ping the hell out of you to make you join because it's for your own good. And yeah, thank you for joining.
Yeah, thank you guys. We hope you enjoyed this, and we hope you enjoy our future presentations too. And we will drop a recording.
Execs, please stop.
I am recording. Don't worry.
Yeah,
everyone. I am
stop recording.
Yeah, we can start recording now. Thank you guys.
Okay.